Guys, what's up? My name's Avnish Hegde. You're watching CricTracker, and here we are to help you with another fantasy guide. And this time it's the first game of the Caribbean Premier League. So let's get started with this video. Right, the Caribbean Premier League is back, ladies and gentlemen. One of the few cricket tournaments you can watch this year, and there's so much hype already. Remember, the 16 tournament will extend for 23 days, seeing 33 matches, and what a humdinger match for the first one. The Guyana Amazon Warriors versus the Trinidad United Riders. Remember, lots of history between the two. It's a repeat of the 2018 final this. And well, lots of stars also to tell you about. But first, let's talk about the venue. There's just two venues in the entire of the tournament in Trinidad. One of the stadiums is the Brian Lara Cricket Stadium, which will be playing host to that game that we're talking about right now. And then, of course, there are going to be 10 games out of the 33 going to be held at Queen's Park Oval, which we'll talk about in due course of time. But talking about the Brian Lara Cricket Stadium, well, it is conducive to spin, so expect big scores, but also lots of turn as well for those Caribbean spinners out there. But what about the weather conditions? It's going to be hot, dry, and clear skies is what is forecasted, so there's no problem in that regard. Right, so let's move on to the players then, and who is to watch out for, especially for this first game. We'll start off with the keepers, because both have absolute slam bang keepers. I've got Tim Seifert from the Trinidad United Riders, who is of course a well-experienced Kiwi campaigner, sort of resembling his coach Brendan McCullum in many ways. And then he, of course, is going to be playing against the opposition keeper, which is Nicholas Pooran, and he has been absolutely brilliant, not just for the West Indies but for the Guyana outfit in the history of the tournament. Right, so let's move on to the batsmen then, and today we're picking 4 batsmen. We'll start with the New Zealander, Colin Munro, who's been absolutely gung-ho in the T20 format as such. You look at his striking, you look at that average, and what makes it such a dangerous combination. Right, we're moving on to some batsmen next, and of course we're going to be focusing on Lennelson and Shimron Hetmeyer, and of course Brandon King as well. Brandon King was one of the breakthrough stars of the CPL 2019, so watch out for him, because he could be a captain's pick, but we'll get there in due course of time. Right, so let's move on to the all-rounders next. We're looking at 2 men in particular, Sunil Narayan and of course Chris Green. Now, Sunil Narayan is going to be a handful because he's a hard-hitting opener and a mystery spinner. We know that. Chris Green too can of course cause a lot of problems with bat and ball. Ball not so much so, because he's just returned from his suspension, of course, with the ICC. But watch out for his batting, because Chris Green can certainly pack a punch, let alone Sunil Narayan. Right, so we're going to tell you about 3 bowlers. Let's start with Imran Tahir for starters, because we know what his leg spin can really deliver in the shortest format. The other spinner I'm talking about is Fawad Ahmad, who picked up 22 wickets in the last season of the CPL. And well, we've also gone for the surprise pick. I'm talking about Ali Khan, who's the USA international, and he's a fast bowler, so watch out for some lethal pace in this one. Right, before we move on to the final 11, we have to tell you who we're captaining and who we're vice-captaining. Captaining, of course, is 2 extra points. Vice-captain is 1.5x. In this case, in this game, really put all your money on Brandon King. I'm talking about the breakthrough star. He can pack a punch, hit a lot of sixes. 34 he hit in the last test campaign of the CPL. Or you could probably vice-captain Sunil Narayan and be banking your points on the all-rounder in terms of runs and plenty of wickets too. Right, moving on to the final part of the show, and that is, of course, our Dream 11. So take a look at our 11, because this game is one to watch out for. It is a repeat, like I said, of the 2018 final, but in the last 19 games, it's been tied between these two. 10-9 it stands in terms of head-to-head results between the Trinidad United Riders and the Guyana Amazon Warriors. Having said that though, Chris Green, like I mentioned, will be making a return in terms of bowling, because he was suspended, of course, playing with the Sydney Thunder earlier this year. What else to tell you? Expect a high-scoring game, because it is a star-studded side from both lineups, so watch this space for more. Right, moving on to the next game then, because it's not just the first game but the second game as well, and I'm talking about the Barbados Tridents, who are up against, of course, the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots. And this one, even though it is going to be the champions, the current champions, Barbados Tridents, favourites to win this, you never know with T20 cricket. So let's start with the teams in this one. Right, let's talk keepers then for the second game. We're picking 1 keeper, and that man is Johnson Charles. Now, of course, he might not be a household name in terms of Indian fans or worldwide audience, but when you talk about the CPL, what he's done in his time there has been phenomenal, especially with the bat in hand. He can donk those sixes at will, and of course, he's a canny keeper behind the stumps. So pick him if you want any reward in your Dream 11. Let's talk about batsmen next, and we're going for absolute powerhouse batting. order in this one if you take a look at it. Chris Lynn, of course, Evan Lewis, who can pack a punch, Ben Dunk, another Aussie in there, and Jonathan Carter. The reason why we're choosing these 4 names is because they have CPL pedigree. Make no mistake, Chris Lynn can certainly pack a punch, so can his compatriot, Ben Dunk. And of course, when we take a look at the local talents in Jonathan Carter and Evan Lewis, they don't need any introduction because they've done amazingly well in West Indian colours. Now moving on to the all-rounder section then, and we're going to pick 2 all-rounders this time. It is the wily old man from Pakistan, left armour, Sohail Tanveer, who gets in the mix. And we're going to go with Ashley Nurse. He's an off-spin alright, but don't be surprised by his batting because he hit the most sixes in the CPL last year. So watch out for Ashley Nurse, let alone the left armour from Pakistan. Now let's talk about the bowlers then for the second match, and I'm talking about, of course, Barbados Tridents to hog the limelight because Rashid Khan is certainly in there. We talk about Rad Emrit, he certainly makes this. We're picking 2 other bowlers. We're talking about Ish Sodhi and Hayden Walsh Jr. All spinners, pretty much going to show that it's going to be conducive to spin. Right, so finally, this is our team for the second match. Looking absolutely brilliant in terms of the Barbados talent out there. But you've got to remember there could be a surprise from the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots because they have beaten Barbados once in a while in the CPL when it's mattered the most as well. So it might not be a plain sail for Jason Holder and his men for this match altogether. So let's pick the captain and vice captain then for the second game, and I'm talking about the captain being Johnson Charles because he certainly is a banker in terms of sixes, runs, catches as well. So pick him as a captain if you want to succeed in this match. And we're going with the vice captain of Chris Lynn because you never know if it's his day. It's certainly Linsanity to say the least. So these are the captain and vice captain picks. Right, so 2 rip-roaring encounters, especially with the fact that all eyes will be on the CPL, given no other cricket's being played. And if you guys want to win big in Dream11, these are the teams that we suggested. So have fun, bet safely, and of course come back to CricTracker for all the other fantasy guides because we'll tell you all the accurate information that you need to know. Thanks for watching, like this video and subscribe to the channel. There's plenty to come. I'm Abhish Hegde, I'm out of here.